Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create SQL virtual machine and then connect that SQL instance with your SQL Management Studio. Now we log into our Azure portal and we go to all services. Here within database, I will click on SQL virtual machine, right? Currently you can see we have one instance already, right? So what we can do is instead I will show you how to create SQL virtual machine from start, right? Now the thing is, here you see we have like three options to choose from. Out of these you can see SQL virtual machine here. Now I will pick one of the SQL Server service and license. So here we have developer edition along with server 22 service. I will just click on create so that it will move to the form where we can fill up every detail and create our own instance. So we have like a resource group, then virtual machine name. So right, so we create that. Then we have one basic region. So starting from subscription, we pick that, then resource group, then virtual machine name, region, then available option, which is zone based, then zone 1. Then you have standard security, then image we pick already. Then comes our size. So notice that 1 CPU 1 GB memory is not enough. So is this 2 CPU 8 GB memory will work for web edition or standard but not for developer and enterprise. So we pick for CPU 16 GB memory. Next we will give it username. Also the password we can store here. Then set the inbound port rules and we can select the port HTTP HTTPS. You can pick SSH if you want. I'm choosing RDP by default as well. Then we click next. Here encryption is disabled due to plan. Then OS disk we can select HDD standard to reduce the cost. Key management wise we let the platform decide. Then comes networking where we have to select the virtual network. As you can see, subnet, then IP along with NIC group, public port which we already select. Then we can delete public IP and NIC when VM is deleted. You can also add the load balancer by selecting option. Then comes management where you can see you have option for Azure Identity and Active Directory along with options like auto shutdowns, site recovery, etc. Now next is monitoring option where you can see you can set the alerts, you can enable the boot diagnostic and so on. Next comes the advanced part where you can set the extensions. You can see that you will have to pick some of the extension that will run during the boot time but also increase the boot time that we have while clicking on RDP. Right, now comes our custom data option. You can add that data. You can also add for VM applications inside your Windows, so they come pre-installed when you connect. You can enable user data so that this custom data can run. So if you are choosing SSD, then you can improve with this high storage performance option. Then host group, currently we have none. Same with capacity reserve and placement. So we move on to SQL Server setting. Right, this is the final setting we make because after that there will be tags and we can directly create the instance. Now here we will choose the connectivity as public so all ports can be accessible. Then comes SQL authentication. We set that for enable and our previous username password will be applicable. Then configuration, here you can change if you want. I have kept the default. Then comes SQL instance that you can also configure, and there is license thing which you can save up if you have purchased the SQL Server license. Considering we have developer edition, there is no need for license, right? Then comes the patching part, which we have enabled, and it will be done on the platform side. Then comes automated backup. We can enable, disable that. So does the R services, right? Then comes tag to sort your things out, and if you decide to organize your resources, you can use that. Then comes your SQL virtual machines option. Directly you will create that, right, by clicking on review and create. And the thing is, I already done that step, so I will just directly move to the virtual machine. So SQL virtual machine has few things we need, like let's say our IP address, right? And here you also see the SQL data being used, 60 MB. Then you have things like, say, log, other things, right? So on, like how much is being used will be in the monitoring option. Now for virtual machine, I can click on it and we will directly go check the public address, right? So now I can use this to connect to the SQL server. So first thing I will do is SSMS, and we will try and connect to SSMS from our desktop. So for that I need this public IP, then I need my password to connect to, right? So let's wait for SSMS to open. Meanwhile, you can pay attention to the amount of resource we are using. You can also explore the settings that you have, an extension and application you can push within this VM and make use of. Here you see SQL Server Management Studio that is starting slowly. Now our SQL Server Management Studio is open. I will just go ahead and paste this particular IP address into my connect server option. I already have login name here, so I will just paste the password as well. Now once we do that, we can simply connect to our management studio with the SQL virtual machine that we created. Okay, error occurs because of login process. Certificate claim was issued by authority that is not trusted. You can say okay and still accept that. Right, so let's go ahead back to login, click connect, and as you can see, I allowed the connection because it was foreseeing the encryption and there was no encryption for that connection. So we managed to connect to SQL VM from our management studio. Now here I can see the database. So let's create the database if it doesn't exist. Right, another thing we can do is we can, let's say, create database name, say sample, right? Click OK and the database is created. Now next thing, I can import some data. So to do that, we will make use of tools, right? And let's see if there is any import tool option. So let's see task like import flat file. So we will pick one of the flat file, like let's say CSV file. That should work, right? So here location of file, let's say we have files, then CSV, then we have like film, Olympics, must be smallest data. So we create table name Olympics, schema TBO as usual, click next so that data will be there. Here we can see our initial column is not detected, so we may have to change the data, right? Let's try and bring something simple, right? So we pick users, and here let's name this table users, click next. Let's see, now it detects the header, right? Now click next. Everything looks okay. We can keep id as primary key, and let's move ahead. Now finish it, and our data is inserted. We can click close. Now let's go to table to expand our DBU users. Now let's select top 1000 rows. We don't have that many, obviously. We have like 100 or 500 max. So we run that script and we would get the result, right? So here you see we have like that data here in SQL Server. So you get the idea how to create SQL virtual machine on Azure, then how to use that connection with our SQL Server Management Studio, then upload the data and work with that data.